Video games. They have inspired millions, created conflicts, and provided endless hours of entertainment. But where would we be if we couldn't play them at home or without consoles at all? The home gaming industry has come a long way from its very start in 1967. Even just up to 2000 shows just how far it has come. So let's take a look. In 1967, the first successful prototype console was made by Ralph Baer and his company, and named the Brown Box. The first official console was released in 1972. This was the Magnavox Odyssey. This console came with various games built in. These games were simple and accessed through the use of flipping switches on the console. Magnavox's success was limited and new ideas were not taking off, so the home gaming industry was not very successful. That was until Atari released their own console with the hit arcade game Pong.
It was technologically advanced, sure, but there's not that much to do with it, so after the novelty wore off, people just stopped playing it.
Pong's success led to Magnavox continuing to pursue home gaming, releasing two new consoles in 1975. In 1976, other companies began making their own consoles due to the new interest in this area of entertainment. Fairchild's Channel F was the first home game which allowed individual games to be stored on separate cartridges rather than internally in the console, making it a success. 1977 saw the release of RCA Studio 2, Magnavox Odyssey 2000 and the Atari 2600, which was the best-selling console for years to come. The Atari 2600 was such a big success and games could be developed and sold at different times without the release of a whole new console. 1980 was the golden age for home gaming. However, the huge success was only a build-up to the crash in home consoles in 1983 as manufacturers of older and more outdated consoles were failing to sell, leading to their demise. Even Atari failed to continue the popularity from previous years. Games were failing to entertain, and this coincided with the release of desktop PCs, which people saw as the future, even for gaming. This left people wondering if home gaming consoles were just a phase that had already passed. Due to many companies dying, this left a gap in the market for new companies and their consoles to hit the shops, and surviving companies began selling for profits again. But the impact of the loss during the crash had slowed console production, meaning that between 1980 and 1985 only 5 new consoles were released. And in 1985 the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Sega Master System were released. In 1989 the Game Boy was released by Nintendo. This was a handheld console with its own screen. It had interchangeable games, and this outsold any previous handheld by thousands. In the following year of 1990, the TurboGrafx 16 was created, meaning that characters now had 3D movement. This prompted the release of 16 consoles, including Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation, and the Commodore 64. The final 5 years released Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast, and one of the best-selling consoles of all time, Sony's PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah, I love my PS2. It had tons of games on it, plus with a DVD player, but mainly because it had stuff like Simpsons Hit and Run, Devil May Cry, Ratchet and Clank, loads of good games.
This is really just a look at the beginning for home gaming, and there is much more to it. But this evolution is what has allowed competitive gaming to take shape and technology like Oculus Rifts to be made. Who knows what the future holds.